So here we go. Hello, hello, and welcome. I'm going to make this a live chat as well, just in case somebody is live and wants to drop me a message. So there we go. But if you're watching this as a recording, please feel free to scroll a little bit forwards, and thank you for being here. Welcome. Today the topic is about decision making. I want to share with you something I've learned throughout my learning experience as a coach and hypnotherapist. And let me introduce myself as well. I'm Eric. I'm a coach and a hypnotherapist. I'm a systemic business life coach, and I learned that in Germany, systemic coaching, and I have moved to Tenerife, which is Spain, and live here, helping people with coaching and hypnosis to become their true authentic selves and to live up to their fullest potential. Because in hypnosis we find the underlying limiting beliefs and the reasons why those beliefs were created in the first place, and eliminate those. We eliminate the interpretation of the situations which happened in the past, and we make the unconscious mind stronger this way. In coaching, we find and also make stronger the resources which you potentially have. We make them bigger. And today I want to share with you some information about decision making. We make decisions all the time. Some decisions are really small, like, do I wash my hands after toilet or do I not? And this can be an ethical question. This can be a cultural question, or hygiene question, or professional question, right? Like, how many times do you wash your hands? Maybe it's an OCD because you wash your hands too many times and not just after toilet, right? But those are decisions. Or there can be big decisions, like, do I marry this person? Do I date this person in the first place? Which major do I choose? Right? And while some people tend to think a lot about their decisions, they weigh pros and cons, some other people seem to make their decisions very easily. It's like they just look at something and say, yeah, I pick that. And they seem to never have any doubts, or barely, right? So what is it? Why? Why is it that for some people it's rather hard to make decisions, and for others it isn't? Pardon my accent, by the way. My mother tongue is Russian, and I lived in Germany for 25 years, so basically I speak Russian and German, and English is somewhere bouncing in the middle. So it seems like when we are doing a lot of research, the indecisive ones are doing a lot of research, asking people, asking friends, asking experts on a topic before they make a decision. It seems like they do this because, and they weigh pros and cons. They do this because they want to be sure that they make the right decision, and they also would like to not have to handle the negative outcome of a wrong decision. So that's what we do, right? So they try not to make a mistake. But if that worked, it would mean that people who make decisions fast make a lot of mistakes, and oftentimes regret what they did. Oftentimes make bad decisions, make mistakes, regret what they did, live miserable. But that's not the case, right? It doesn't seem like people who make fast decisions are kind of miserable with their lives. It's the opposite, actually. They look like they actually go out there and live their life. The undecisive ones instead sit back and kind of stay back. They kind of do not live their life by not making the decisions, right? So how can we start to make faster decisions and not regret the wrong ones? And how do we not fear making a mistake? How to stop overthinking everything? So in order to understand how to do this, we need to understand what lies beneath, what subconsciously happens in our mind. So basically, what happens is we're afraid to make a mistake, right? We're afraid that what we will have to handle will be too big, it will be too much work, and we'll have to make it right somehow then. So what we do, we start doing lists, for example, pros and cons, and we hope that by the end of that list, a decision emerges just by itself. And we also hope that if that decision emerges, then there is nothing else to do. I'm not going to have to do anything after that. Like, I made the right decision because it was a weighted decision. So now my life will be good, will be better, and I'm going to be happier. So what we're doing is, we're saying that the decision is the exact, is exactly the same thing as the outcome. Right decision, good outcome. Wrong decision, bad outcome. And basically what we do, if we postpone decisions, if we make those lists, we basically try to walk around the decision making. We try to avoid making a decision. So we're not trying to be more decisive, we're trying to be more effective. But it isn't really effective, right? If we invest a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of emotional engagement and energy, right, in a decision, and if the decision in the end turns out bad, at least that's that's the label we give it, right? Then it wasn't worth it. We weren't effective. But we want to be effective. On the other hand, people who make fast decisions, they do not invest as much energy and effort and time into trying to find out what's the best decision, in trying to calculate all the possible outcomes and imagine what they are going to do if this happens. What are they going to do if this happens? And what if that happens? They don't do all that. They just decide. And then if the decision, the outcome, is labeled as negative or bad by them, it was basically like they're better off in the end, right? It's just that they didn't invest so much time and energy before. So now they stand in front of the same kind of situation as the undecisive one, but they didn't invest so much time and energy. So what we do when we think too much, when we overthink things, we actually think that by thinking more before making a decision, we kind of avoid making mistakes, and we come into some kind of perfect life in which we are able to always know what's better, what's best for us. But why? Why isn't this the case? Why can't we have a perfect life? Just because life never is perfect, right? Life is full of mistakes. Life is full of mishaps and unexpected happenings. So the question is not how to live a perfect life. The question is what to do with the decisions we made. How do we cope with what happens after or when it happens? And how to not label the outcome as a bad decision. So, and that's the point. The outcome is not the same as the decision. The outcome does not correlate the decision. So if the decision was made, it just was made. It's the decision, it's the choice. And the outcome is something you label it. It's the way you label your outcome. That's what it's going to be for you. So whenever you make a decision, it's up to you to make it work. And that's the point. That's something I want you to take out of this. How do you make it work? You can make work anything that happens. It doesn't just work. Like if we make the right decision, then we're just gonna might think like, oh, okay, now I can lean back and everything is going to be just fine. Everything will fall into places. And but that's not the case, right? Sometimes it is, but sometimes or oftentimes it doesn't. So we have to intentionally look for ways how to make things work, no matter the decision. And this can be with anything, right? This can be with job offers, with picking the major or your major, picking your partner, making a decision what to eat, etc., right? So the problem with being afraid of making the wrong choice is that if the outcome is labeled as bad or negative, we then think, oh, that was a wrong decision then, and we tend to regret the choice we made. And if we regret the choice we make, we then are afraid next time to make another choice, to make another decision. So then we'll procrastinate, postpone the decision, we'll make the lists, and then we'll make another decision, and then we are afraid, is that the right decision? Before we know the outcome. And if we are afraid about if that was the right decision, then we are radiating that fear. And then our life, most probably, also is going to reflect that radiation. Then we are actually manifesting that attitude. We're attracting it. We're attracting more fear into our life. And that's a spiral. It goes on and on and on. Because then, later, we're going to think, oh, that was actually the wrong decision, and I was afraid it would be, and it was. So I was right, it was a wrong decision. So now, I don't want to ever make any decisions again. But that is not possible. It's not possible to not make decisions. So, what to do? We can look at it this way. Whenever we stand in front of a decision, especially if there are more than one choice, or two choices, let's say, more than just A or B, if you have plenty, for example, to pick from, like plenty major topics, you can look at it that way. Any of them would be satisfactory to me. Any of the topic I'd pick would be good, because I'm going to make it work. Because I can make it work. And I will. So it doesn't matter which way you go. It doesn't matter which choice you pick. You will make it work. And that will be the right decision for you. You can always love what is. As Byron Katie says, you stand in front of a situation. You have something that is here and now. You come back into here and now, and you accept what is, and you make the best out of it. Just remember, if you stand in front of a decision and it's really hard for you to make a choice, remember, it's hard because you're afraid that you might make a mistake, that you might regret your decision, and because you think it has to just do itself. That you make a decision and then life just happens and everything is going to be good if the decision was right. That's a very big mistake, because you think that your choice, the decision, and the outcome, that they correlate, and that it just has to happen, and you have nothing to do, right? So you're basically not responsible afterwards. So in front, I hope you could pick up something worthwhile for you. Very welcome to you're very welcome to contact me anytime you want. Write any questions you have to this topic or another, and very welcome to a free conversation before we would have a coaching or hypnotherapy session. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.